Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we are not just reading a book. We're sort of stepping into a pressure cooker.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I mean that quite literally. We're heading to Bristol today, but not the breezy maritime Bristol you might be picturing in your head.
Right. Not the postcard version?
No, definitely not. We are dropping right into the sweltering, sticky, just incredibly claustrophobic heat of July 2024.
It's intense.
It is. We're diving into The New Neighbors by Claire Douglas.
And it's actually really rare that the weather report is as important as the character list. But in this case, the atmosphere is doing a ton of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
This isn't just a backdrop, you know?
Yeah.
It is a physical weight on the entire story.
Oh, I felt like I needed a shower just reading the first chapter.
Right.
Douglas describes this heat wave that is just melting the pavement. It's that kind of oppressive, humid heat where your clothes stick to you the second you step outside.
The kind where the air feels thick enough to chew.
Exactly. And everyone is irritable. Everyone is slightly off kilter.
Which is really the perfect physiological state for a psychological thriller, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
Because when the body is overheated, we get restless.
Yeah.
Our sleep is disrupted. Cognitive function dips slightly. We become more reactive.
More paranoid.
Exactly. It blurs the edges of reality. If this story took place on a crisp, clear autumn morning, I'm not sure the protagonist, Lena, would have spiraled quite so beautifully.
That is a really great point. So let's set the scene for you listening. We are in the Redland area of Bristol. It's picturesque. It's affluent. We're talking lovely Victorian terraces.
Beautiful homes.
Very beautiful. And our guide through this sweat-drenched nightmare is Lena Fletcher.
Lena is, well, she's complex.
Yeah, she really is.
She's one of those characters who feels incredibly real because she is incredibly messy. She's not a glossy heroine at all.
Not even a little bit.
She's in her 40s. She's currently working at Citizens Advice, and she is standing on the precipice of a major life transition.
The dreaded empty nest. Her son Rufus is 17. He's about to pack his bags and head off to university. And you really get the sense that Lena is gripping onto him with white knuckles.
She is terrified of the silence that's coming.
Yeah, it's more than just sadness, though, isn't it?
It's an identity crisis. We see this often in literature and in life. For nearly 2 decades, her primary identifier has been mother.
Right.
She is the organizer, the protector, the sun around which the household orbits. When that orbit breaks, who is she?
Especially since her marriage has recently imploded.
Yes. We have to mention the husband.
Or the ex-husband, I should say.
Yeah.
Charlie. He's a musician, and he's run off with a younger woman named Rosie.
And Lena's description of her is so telling.
Oh, the pretty goth doll comment.
Yes. It's such a devastatingly dismissive description. It tells you everything about how Lena sees herself in comparison.
She feels old, discarded, uncool.
Exactly. So she is feeling invisible. She's feeling rejected sexually and romantically. And now she's about to be rejected, or at least left behind maternally. That creates a massive vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. When we feel empty inside, we tend to look outside for something to fill it.
We start watching others.
We do.
And that is exactly when the moving truck pulls up next door.
Enter the new neighbors.
The Morgans, Henry and Marielle. And if Lena's feeling like a sweaty, chaotic mess, the Morgans are the complete antidote to that.
They are cool. They are composed.
Very old money energy.
The contrast is deliberate, and it's really painful for Lena. She's sweating through her clothes, and Marielle Morgan is wearing crisp linen that probably costs more than Lena's car.
Yeah, and Henry Morgan is this retired neurosurgeon who looks like an old-school Hollywood matinee idol.
They represent control. They represent a life where things are orderly and wealthy and calm.
It's instant envy.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also curiosity.
Yeah.
Because they move into this massive house next door, a house that's been renovated to within an inch of its life, and Lena is stuck in her pokey little terrace.
So she starts watching them.
And this is where we get into that rear window territory.
Right. The concept of proxemics is really at play here. In a terrace house, you are physically intimate with people you don't even know.
You share a wall.
You hear their plumbing, you hear their muffled arguments, you smell their cooking.
Douglas weaponizes that forced intimacy so well.
She does. Lena isn't necessarily trying to be a stalker initially. She's just there. And they are there.
But then it goes from passive watching to active surveillance. And it's all thanks to Rufus's media studies project.
Chekhov's boom mic.
I love that we're calling it that.
Yeah.
For you listening, if you aren't familiar with Chekhov's gun, it's the dramatic principle that if you show a gun in the first act, it better go off by the third act.
Right.
In this book, we get a high-powered directional microphone introduced early on.
Which is a brilliant modern update. It's not a gun, it's information. Rufus is using it to record garden sounds for his project. Foxes, birds, atmospheric noise.
But a directional mic doesn't discriminate.
Exactly. If you point it at a fox, you hear a fox. If you point it at an open window next door,
you hear your neighbor's secrets. And this is the real catalyst. Lena and Rufus are messing around with the equipment, and Lena accidentally, or maybe subconsciously on purpose, points it at the Morgans' window.
And she catches a conversation that changes everything.
Let's break down what she hears, because the ambiguity is the key to this whole setup.
It really is. She hears Henry, the neurosurgeon, sounding stressed. He says it's too risky and we could get caught.
Then Marielle, the linen-clad goddess, says the room is ready. And the real kicker.
You promised me you'd take her.
You promised me you'd take her. Okay, pause. If I heard that coming from my neighbor's house, my mind wouldn't immediately go to, oh, they're planning a surprise party.
No, definitely not.
My mind goes exactly where Lena's goes. Kidnapping, trafficking, murder.
It completely confirms her bias. She already feels like they are too perfect. She wants to find a crack in the facade.
And this isn't just a crack, it's a crater.
But we have to remember Lena's job, too. She works at Citizens Advice. She spends her days dealing with people in crisis.
Right? People fleeing domestic abuse, people dealing with fraud, people falling through the cracks of the system.
So she's primed for catastrophe. She sees the worst in people because that's her professional reality every single day.
So she validates her paranoia by framing it as professional intuition.
Precisely. She thinks she's spotting a pattern. She tells herself, I'm not a nosy neighbor. I'm a concerned citizen protecting the vulnerable.
It gives her moral permission to escalate.
It does.
And escalate she does. But here is where the book really tricked me. I want to talk about the red herring because usually I can spot them a mile away. But this one, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
You're talking about Drew Mayhew.
Drew Mayhew. He's a client Lena meets at work. He's desperate. He's looking for his missing sister, Sarah Jane. And he tells Lena this story about how Sarah Jane used to work at a clinic.
A clinic with Henry Morgan.
Yes, it's the perfect narrative fit.
Drew describes Henry as cold, arrogant. He says Henry lied about why Sarah Jane was fired. And then he drops the detail about the car.
A classic blue Jaguar.
And what does Henry Morgan drive?
A pristine, classic blue Jaguar.
At this point, any rational reader and Lena is going to connect those dots. You have the overheard conversation. We'll take her. The room is ready.
You have a missing woman who worked with the neighbor.
You have the neighbor driving the suspect vehicle. It isn't a leap of logic. It's a strongly built bridge.
I was yelling at the book. Call the police, Lena. They have Sarah Jane in the attic.
It's so compelling.
I was so sure. It felt like a standard thriller setup. The rich, powerful doctor preying on the vulnerable employee.
And that is exactly why it's such an effective red herring. It plays on our existing cultural tropes.
We expect the rich, powerful man to be the villain in that specific way.
We expect the missing girl plotline. Douglas feeds us exactly what we're hungry for, so we just stop looking for other explanations.
It also gives Lena a noble quest. She isn't just snooping anymore. She is trying to save a life.
She convinces herself that Sarah Jane is locked in that ready room next door.
And that belief drives her to do something completely insane. She breaks into the house.
The trespass. This is a staple of the genre, but the execution here is particularly chilling.
The Morgans are supposedly away. Lena has an old key one, the previous owner, Joan, left behind.
And she hears something.
She hears crying.
Persistent, distressed crying. A baby.
Now, Marielle has mentioned a grandson,
Yeah.
Arthur. She parades a pram around the neighborhood.
So Lena thinks, oh my God, they've left the baby alone. Or maybe it's Sarah Jane's baby.
So she goes in, and the description of the house is so important here.
It's dark. It's silent except for the crying. She creeps up the stairs.
It's the classic don't go in there moment.
She pushes open the nursery door. The crying stops.
She looks in the cot, and she sees a baby.
But it's not a baby.
It is a reborn doll.
We need to pause on this because it is easily the most unsettling image in the book. Do you know much about the reborn community?
I've seen pictures online. They're those hyper-realistic dolls, right?
Hyper-realistic is almost an understatement. These are art pieces designed to mimic a human infant in every single detail.
What?
We are talking about silicone skin that's painted with veins, modeling, milk spots. They have hand-rooted hair.
That's incredibly detailed.
And they are weighted. This is the key part. They're weighted to feel like a dead weight, like a sleeping child. So when you hold them, your body reacts hormonally as if you are holding a real baby.
That is fascinating and terrifying all at once.
For many people, they're therapeutic. They're used for grief processing for women who have lost children or for dementia patients. They can be beautiful tools for comfort.
But context is everything.
Exactly. Finding one in a sunlit therapy room is one thing. Finding one in a dark nursery in a neighbor's house after hearing a recording of a crying baby.
That plunges us straight into the uncanny valley.
The uncanny valley, yes.
That's the feeling of revulsion we get when something looks almost human, but not quite right.
Exactly. Evolutionary biologists theorize it's a defense mechanism to keep us away from corpses or diseased individuals.
That makes sense.
When Lena looks at this thing, she sees the eyelashes, the wetness on the lips, but it's completely still. It's lifeless. It triggers a primal wrongness in her brain.
And it completely shatters her reality. Because Marielle has been treating this thing like a real child.
She's been pushing it in a pram.
She's been buying diapers. Lena realizes that her perfect neighbor isn't just eccentric. She is living in a complete delusion.
It shifts our perception of the Morgans instantly.
Totally.
They go from criminal masterminds to deeply disturbed. Why would a woman pretend to have a grandson? Why would she fake a daughter-in-law named Heidi, who supposedly works at the library but doesn't even exist?
It screams trauma.
It suggests that something terrible happened in their past that broke them.
But Lena doesn't stop at the nursery. She goes downstairs. And she finds something even weirder. She finds the wall.
The crazy wall.
Yeah, usually this is something the detective builds to solve the crime. String, pins, photos.
But here, it's in the suspect's house, and it's not about Sarah Jane. It's not about recent events at all.
No, it's a massive collage of newspaper clippings from 25 years ago.
This is the absolute pivot point of the novel.
The headlines are about a scandal at St. Calvert's Hospital.
Baby found on hospital steps, organs for research, drugs lord found dead, bright sparks win national award.
And this is where Lena stops being just a neighbor and realizes she is a participant.
Yeah.
Because Lena knows St. Calvert's.
She was there.
25 years ago, Lena was a student midwife.
She was young, idealistic, and unsure of herself. And she was there the night that baby was found on the steps.
She was training with a woman named Simone Harvey. And Simone was the one who got all the glory right.
Simone found the baby. Simone gave the interviews. Lena was just the sidekick in the background.
But Lena knew secrets. She suspected Simone was involved in prescription fraud with a dodgy doctor named Hugh Warrington.
Lena was so disgusted by the corruption, so traumatized by the bullying she received for asking questions that she quit.
She walked away from her dream of being a midwife.
So she's standing in her new neighbor's house, looking at a wall dedicated to the worst year of her life.
And then we get the cherry on top. Her dog, Phoenix, who, let's be honest, is the best detective in this book, finds a keyring in the hedge between the gardens.
A knitted pink teddy bear.
And Lena recognizes it. It belonged to Simone, who now goes by Natalie.
So now the theory changes again.
Right. Lena thinks, okay, they didn't kidnap Sarah Jane. They've done something to Simone.
It makes sense to her. The Morgans are collecting data on the St. Calvert scandal. They have Simone's keyring. Simone was involved in drugs.
Maybe the Morgans are vigilantes. Maybe they're cleaning up the loose ends of that old crime ring.
It's a very logical pivot for her to make based on the evidence. But she is still missing the central truth.
She still thinks she's the one looking in. She thinks she's the hunter.
She has absolutely no idea she is the prey.
And that brings us to the twist. The setup is so classic, it almost feels comforting, before it just completely rips the rug out from under you.
The Morgans ask Lena for a favor.
Feed the cat. The oldest trick in the book. We're going away for the weekend, Lena. Here's the key. Just pop in and feed the cat.
And Lena sees this as a golden opportunity.
Great, she thinks. I can go back in. I can find proof that they have Simone. I can find out what they are really doing.
She walks into the trap with her eyes wide open, thinking she's the one setting it.
She goes into the house. It's totally silent. She goes to the kitchen, and there they are.
Waiting.
This scene, I mean, talk about a vibe shift.
Oh, yeah.
Marielle isn't wearing her lovely linen sundress. She's wearing blue latex gloves. She is holding a syringe.
And Henry is standing by the door, blocking the exit.
The mask drops completely. There is no more neighbor's pretense. There is no more borrow a cup of sugar.
This is pure, unadulterated menace.
And when Lena stammers asking what's going on, Marielle delivers the line that recontextualizes the entire novel.
She says, "You, Lena, you were the plan. Why do you think we moved in next door?"
That is the exact moment my stomach dropped. Because suddenly the coincidence of the new neighbors isn't a coincidence at all.
The heat wave, the forced friendship, the proximity, it was all engineered from the start.
They didn't move to Bristol for a quiet retirement. They moved to Bristol for her.
For Lena,
So who are they? Why do they want Lena so badly?
they are the parents.
The parents of the abandoned baby.
Yes. Henry and Mariel Morgan are the biological parents of the baby found on the steps of St. Calvert's 25 years ago.
But wait, if they're the parents, why are they angry at Lena and Simone? They abandoned him.
This is where the psychology gets so twisted and fascinating.
Please explain, because it's wild.
The book implies they were highly dysfunctional at the time, maybe extreme selfishness, immaturity, maybe other circumstances. They left the baby.
Right.
But in their narcissism, they rewrote history over the decades. They didn't abandon him in their minds. He was taken from them by the system.
That is some serious mental gymnastics.
It's a really common trait in pathological personalities, actually. They cannot accept the guilt of their own action, so they project the blame onto the witnesses.
They blame the people who found the baby.
They blame Simone. They blame Lena. In their twisted logic, if Lena and Simone hadn't interfered, maybe they would have come back. Maybe they would have fixed it.
So they have spent 25 years stewing in this toxicity. They have hunted down everyone involved in that night.
Exactly. They want to know exactly what happened. They want to punish the people who stole their child.
That's a soundproof room.
It wasn't for Sarah Jane.
It wasn't for a kidnapped child.
It was for Lena. They were going to drug her, drag her in there, and interrogate her. Or worse.
That turns the whole empty nest theme into something grotesque, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a dark mirror.
Lena is sad because her child is growing up and leaving naturally. The Morgans are homicidal because they threw their child away and now want to reclaim ownership of the narrative.
Lena is struggling to let go of a child she loved and raised. The Morgans are refusing to let go of a child they never even knew.
It shows how parental love, when stripped of responsibility and empathy, just becomes pure obsession. It becomes about ownership.
And speaking of the child, we have one more massive bomb to drop here.
Yes. Because the baby isn't just a hypothetical concept from 25 years ago. The baby is actually in the book.
He is. And he has been right under our noses the whole time.
It's Kit.
The cool guitar-playing tutor who has been teaching Rufus.
We've spent the whole book thinking Kit is just a nice bit of set dressing.
He's charming, he's a bit flirty, he's good with Rufus. He feels like a filler character to show Lena's social life outside of the house.
But looking back, he was always asking questions, wasn't he? He was always so interested in Lena's past.
Kit is the baby. His given name is Peter, but he goes by Kit.
And here's the irony that I just love. The Morgans didn't hire him. They didn't send him to Lena's house.
He's doing his own investigation.
Exactly. You have three vectors colliding in this one neighborhood.
The biological parents are hunting the midwife.
The biological son is hunting his origins.
And the midwife is just trying to feed a cat.
It's brilliant. Kit found out he was adopted after his adoptive mother died. He tracked down Simone Harvey. He found out about the St. Calvert's connection.
And remember the intruder Lena heard earlier in the book? The one she thought was a burglar.
That was Kit.
He broke into the Morgans' house, his biological parents' house, looking for answers. He was the one who disturbed the scene.
So the climax in the kitchen is this massive collision of all these misunderstandings. Mariel is about to plunge that needle into Lena. Henry is blocking the door.
And Lena realizes that nobody is coming to save her.
I really appreciate that Douglas didn't have Charlie burst in at the last second, or Drew. Lena has to save herself.
And she uses the house to do it.
She knows the layout perfectly because it's an exact mirror of her own house.
She knows the creaky floorboards. She knows the angles of the rooms.
She bolts. She scrambles up the stairs, which seems counterintuitive. You never run up in a horror movie.
But she does it to outmaneuver them.
Right. She jumps down the stairs, bypassing Henry, who is an older man and not nearly as agile as he thinks he is.
The heat wave really comes back into play here, too. Everyone is slippery with sweat. They are exhausted.
The physical struggle is messy and desperate. It's not a beautifully choreographed fight scene. It's just a raw scramble for survival.
Lena bursts out of the front door, gasping for air into that humid night. And the police are already on their way because Kit Peter has put the pieces together.
He realized where his parents were and what they were doing.
The aftermath is heavy, though.
Henry ends up dead. The book implies it might have been a suicide or a confrontation gone wrong when the police arrived. The pack just crumbled the moment it was exposed to the light.
And the doll. We have to circle back to the doll one last time.
Yes, please. Why did Mariel have the fake baby if she knew she had a real son out there?
It's the ultimate tragedy of her character. She couldn't deal with the reality of her adult son.
A son who is a stranger, who has his own life, who probably hates her for abandoning him.
Exactly. She wanted the fantasy of motherhood. She wanted the compliant, sleeping infant who needs her and never talks back.
The doll was her way of role-playing the life she threw away, without any of the messy reality of actually apologizing or making amends.
She wanted to be a grandmother to the neighbors, but she wasn't even a mother to her own son.
It's delusion as a pure survival mechanism.
Precisely.
So the sirens fade, the Morgans are gone, Lena is alive. And I have to say, I really loved the resolution of this book.
It's very satisfying.
A lot of thrillers leave the protagonist broken, constantly looking over her shoulder forever. But Lena, she actually thrives.
It is a story of resilience at its core. The trauma happens, yes, but it acts as a catalyst for her to finally fix the things that were actually wrong in her life.
First, she sells the house.
Which is huge. She was holding onto that house as a rigid symbol of her family unit. By selling it, she's accepting that the family unit has simply changed shape.
It's not a failure, it's an adaptation.
And she makes peace with Charlie. They aren't getting back together, thank God, because he was kind of useless, but the bitterness is gone.
They are friends. They're co-parents to Rufus, who goes off to uni.
And most importantly, she reclaims her career.
She goes back to Midway Free. I actually cheered when I read that.
It is a beautiful character arc. For 25 years, she let the corruption of St. Calvert's and the fear of people like Henry and Simone stop her from doing what she loved.
By physically confronting the ghosts of that past fighting off the Morgans, she broke the curse. She realized she is stronger than they are.
She takes her power back.
And then we get the final scene. It's just so perfectly understated.
It is.
Lena is visiting the old street. She sees a moving truck at the Morgans' old house. New neighbors are moving in.
The cycle continues.
A woman waves at Lena. And old Lena, the Lena from Chapter 1, she would have been dying to know who they were.
She would have been Googling them immediately,
Peering through the blinds.
projecting her loneliness right onto them.
But this Lena, she waves back, and then she turns away. She gets in her car and drives off. The text explicitly says she has too much going on in her own life to have time to be nosy about the new neighbors.
That is the victory. She isn't looking through the rear window anymore. She is completely focused on her own dashboard.
She has filled the void in her life with her own ambitions, her own future, rather than filling it with other people's secrets.
It's a lesson for us all, really. Focus on your own lawn, and maybe you won't notice if the neighbors are digging a grave in theirs.
Well, I wouldn't go quite that far. If they are digging a grave, please do call the police. But maybe don't record their arguments.
Fair point.
So what is the big takeaway here? Aside from don't trust people in linen suits.
I think it comes back to that empty nest vulnerability. We often talk about it culturally as a sad time, but Douglas shows us it's a deeply dangerous time.
How so?
When you lose your sense of self, you become malleable. You become paranoid. You become susceptible to obsession.
The thriller element works so well because the psychological foundation is just rock solid.
Lena's journey is about learning that she exists outside of her relationships with others. She isn't just Rufus's mom or Charlie's wife or the Morgans' neighbor. She is Lena.
And she's a badass ex-midwife who can jump down a flight of stairs to escape a syringe.
That too.
I also think there's something to be said about intuition. We spent the first half of this deep dive and the book thinking Lena was spiraling.
Her friends told her she was crazy.
Her ex-husband told her to calm down. Even she thought she was losing her mind.
It is the classic gaslighting dynamic, but here it's often self-inflicted, or at least societally inflicted. Women particularly are socialized to doubt their gut instincts.
To be nice.
To not make a fuss.
Lena felt something was fundamentally wrong next door. Her brain rationalized it into a kidnapping plot, which was incorrect, but her body knew she was in physical danger.
The details were wrong, but the vibe was entirely right.
Exactly. If she had listened to everyone else and just relaxed, she would have walked into that kitchen completely unprepared. Her paranoia saved her life.
So trust your gut. Even if your gut is telling you your neighbors are kidnapping a woman named Sarah Jane, and it turns out they're actually vengeful biological parents from 25 years ago, the point is, don't go over for tea.
Verify before you trust.
Always.
And maybe keep the curtains closed during a heat wave.
Just for the temperature control, if nothing else.
This has been such a wild ride. The New Neighbors really does make you look at your own street differently.
It does.
It makes you wonder what is happening behind those closed doors. And it leaves you with this provocative thought about how we curate our lives for our neighbors today.
Oh, definitely. With social media, we're all building our own perfect facades. We're all being the Morgans to someone else's Lena. We project this polished, linen-clad version of ourselves while hiding the mess inside.
That is so true. Every house is a sealed box of secrets. We only see the exterior paint.
We don't see the cracks in the foundation until the heat rises.
Oh, on that cheerful note,
Uh,
thank you for unpacking this sweltering, twisted, and ultimately redeeming story with
it
me.
was a pleasure, a terrifying pleasure.
And to you listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Go check out The New Neighbors by Claire Douglas if you want to feel the heat for yourself.
Highly recommend it.
And remember, if you find a boom mic in your house, maybe put it away. Just mind your own business. It's a lot safer that way. See you next time.